Hey there friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Riley. I am the crocheter and owner behind Pocketful of Posies. And in today's video, we have quite a few things to go over. I thought I would give you a little update on life, what I've been up to since my last video, and how my very first outdoor market went. I also have some fun happy mail to open with you, as well as a brand new pattern reveal. So if that sounds like fun, I hope you will grab a drink, grab a snack, grab a project, and let's get into it. As you can see, I am back in my office space, which means that my family is not here today. I had a brief moment of quiet. I have the house to myself, and I figured that I would do another video in my office because I miss recording from here. Everything I need is in this room, and so it's kind of a hassle to take my stuff upstairs to that extra room to record a video. Today is Monday, July 20th, and I just had my very first outdoor market ever this past Friday. I know in past videos I've talked about some of the items that I decided to get for that market because it was going to be during the day, kind of in the evening, but it really doesn't cool down here in Colorado until the sun is definitely setting. So I knew I was going to need a tent, an extra table, and things like that. So I did get those items, and I'm going to show you how the setup looked when I did my initial trial run at home. I didn't want the first time that I did the tent to be at the market. I wanted to set it up, see how it worked and all of that beforehand, see how hard it was to take it out and put it away by myself. Spoiler alert, it was very difficult. I don't know how people do tents by themselves, and I'm really thankful I had my husband to help because it was a lot of work, especially in the heat. Anyway, before I jump into all of that, I figured I would first share a clip with you of me opening a brand new order from Premier Yarns. This is an order I purchased myself with my own money. None of this yarn was gifted to me. I just really liked this yarn and was out of a lot of colors. And they also had some colors I hadn't tried before. So I decided to go ahead and just make a big order. I did want to mention before cutting to that clip that I have become a Premier Yarns affiliate. So if you're interested in purchasing any of those yarns, the link to do so will be down below in the description. If you use that link, please just know it doesn't cost you anything extra. It just means that I get some Premier rewards so I can continue purchasing yarn for things like developing patterns, possibly even some free patterns and tutorials in the future, and it helps out my small business. So anytime you use any of my affiliate links for any of your purchases, I deeply appreciate it. So without further ado, I'm going to cut over to Past Riley to show you my Premier Plush and Chenille Basics yarn haul. I just got a delivery from Premier Yarns. It's a big box. I am really enjoying the Premier Plush line, mostly because it is very similar to one of my favorites, which is and has been Sweet Snuggles Light by Loops and Threads, which is available at Michael's. However, my complaint about Sweet Snuggles Light is just that there is not enough variety in the colors, and that is where Premier Plush comes in. As far as I'm concerned, these two yarns are almost identical in size and feel, so I can use them interchangeably, which I love. There are some overlap in colors, but what I've also noticed is that Plush has colors that Loops and Thread used to carry in their Chenille Home Slim line, which I can't seem to find anymore. So I figured it would be fun to do a little bit of an unboxing. Most of the colors in here are colors that are new to me. I also grabbed some of their basics because I like the feel of their basics line just a little bit more than Bernat. I have found that Bernat blanket yarn can be a little inconsistent when it comes to texture, and I find that the Chenille basics, at least the ones I've used, are a little bit easier to work with. All right, so let's open this baby up. Oh my gosh, all right, so there's a lot of yarn in here, so I'm actually going to put it on the floor in front of me and just pull. Ooh, I almost lost it all. I'm just going to pull skeins out. and share them with you as I come across them. It looks like they packed all of my basics yarn on the top, so we will go through those first. So the first color of the Basics Chenille Brights is this steel cut oat. I'm actually going to use this for a custom order. I'm going to be making a golden retriever using my Posy the Puppy pattern. I'm going to modify it slightly so it's a little bit bigger, but if you're interested in that pattern, that's actually a free pattern on my Instagram that you can go check out. I'm thinking about maybe posting a YouTube tutorial for that pattern. So if you are someone who prefers a tutorial to a PDF, let me know and I will start working on that. But I think this is going to be a really great color for a golden retriever. In that order, I also have a request for a cat. So I also got two of these. This is called Mushroom. And it's for a cream colored tabby. So kind of like an orange tabby, but lighter. And I thought that this might be a good color for that. That was a really hard color to find. So I'm hoping that it looks good with this color. I also got this cream, which is called Winter White, to go with this, since the cat also has some like white cream colored patches as well. I also purchased 2 skeins of the color Curry because I wasn't really sure which of these would look more like the golden retriever. So I'm going to have to go back to the pictures, but I'm thinking it's going to be more this one than this one, but we'll see. And unless you've been living under a rock, you will know that Mama Made Minis did a collab with Premier and released a beautiful line of colors. So I definitely had to get my hands on some of those. The one I chose for this is Pepper because I'm also going to be doing a black lab that's kind of grayish looking from the photos for that custom order. I really want to get more of these, but I was trying to restock some colors that I needed and some colors that I wanted to try. So I had to limit myself, but I will be back for more. Mark my words. Okay, so now on to the Parfait plush colors that I ordered. I got about 1 skein of each, unless it was one I knew I was going to use a lot, because the skeins are actually pretty big, which is another reason why I like this yarn. The skein size for, I think, all of these is 174 yards or 160 meters and 7 ounces or 200 grams. So you can get a lot of use out of these. The first color I got, obviously, is black because I want to make some more Furies. I also got 1 skein of mustard. This is a beautiful golden yellow color that I find myself reaching for more often than a regular bright yellow. I also got this really pretty bright green called Seaweed Salad. This is a shade of green that I do not have in any of my yarns. And whenever I see a new color that I don't have, I have to have it. And I just love that it's a nice, bright, true green. I got 2 skeins of their teddy bear color. If you are a Premier Parfait plush fan, you will know that this color often goes out of stock. So I don't think I will ever be purchasing just 1 skein of it. And it's good to get more at the same time because usually you can get the same dye lot. So I got 2 of teddy bear. I also got 2 skeins of Rust, which is another lovely warm brown color that I like to use for various things like animals. It works up really well as a nice darker skin tone. So I wanted to make sure I replaced that because I just recently ran out. I got 1 skein of chocolate, which is a really beautiful dark brown color that I like using typically for accents. I don't usually use this color for the main color of something, but it is a very nice dark chocolatey brown. I got 1 skein of navy because I just recently ran out of my navy Sweet Snuggles Light and decided I was going to replace it with this. I'm not even sure Michael still carries this particular color anymore. Maybe someday it'll come back, but until then, Premier Plush it is. 1 skein of Evergreen. If you know me, you know I love a good forest make, and this green paired with some of the browns I showed you is perfect. So I definitely needed to restock this. I felt like I was about to run out of the skein of cream that I have, so I got 1 more skein of cream in my order. I love a good bright red, especially for accents, so I grabbed this poppy color. I don't have a red like this, except maybe in Posh, but again, this is a completely different size, so if I want to make a larger make with a larger yarn and I need to use red, I can't use my posh unless that whole make is in posh, if that makes sense. So I grabbed a skein of this too. I also got a skein of Summer Squash. This is not a color that I've tried. This is like a true yellow. It's not like a light yellow or a pastel yellow. I think it's really pretty. It's actually much prettier in person. And I think this is going to be really good for maybe some accent colors, some smaller market makes, and things like that. I got one skein of Bubblegum. I do have a color similar to this from Senilco, which I shared in my last video. But like I said, I have to use a smaller hook with that. So I wanted to get a yarn that was just slightly larger. And so I went for this beautiful pink and I'm very excited to use it. One skein of Chartreuse. The color speaks for itself. This is a color again that I don't have but want to use. So I figured I would grab a skein of that as well. I'm developing quite the little stockpile over here. My husband is going to be furious if I can't fit this all on my shelves. I also got one skein of the color Seal, and because I couldn't choose between the grays, I also got a skein of the color Pale Gray. I feel like it's just good to have various shades of colors, you know, like you want multiple shades of yellow, multiple shades of green, multiple shades of brown. It's just smart. Another color that I had run out of was this color Toffee. This is again another nice neutral. I've used it for mushrooms and other things like that. And I wanted more, so I got more. Please don't fall. I also got the color Carrot. This is another color that I don't have. Sweet Snuggles Light has more of a corally orange. They have two shades actually that are pretty similar. One's just a little bit lighter than the other. So I wanted a nice bright orange. So I opted for Carrot. I liked that the color was very saturated and rich. And I mean, it's really truly a carrot color. Like that is the perfect name for this. So I'm excited to try this. I have no idea what I'm going to do with half of these yarns, but I know eventually inspiration will strike and I will be glad that I have these colors. And last but not least, I also got the color Tangerine. Again, it's just a lighter orange because it's important to have various shades of the same color. I just feel like it makes sense. These are all of the yarns that I got from Premier. I'm so excited to get them on my shelves, hopefully in an organized fashion. This is not a sponsored post. I just really like the Premier plush as someone who really loves Sweet Snuggles Light and Chenille Home Slim and is sad to see some of that color range is no longer available and that the color range hasn't really broadened. So if you are also a Sweet Snuggles Light fan and you've been wanting to find something as close as possible to that yarn, I highly recommend you try this. So we're just going to put these all back in the box for now. So in total, that was 20 skeins of plush and 9 skeins of Basics Chenille Brights. I know that sounds like a lot of yarn. I mean, it is a lot of yarn. It wasn't cheap. It was a business expense. But, you know, if you're a crocheter, you need yarn. If you're a pattern designer, you need lots of colors to choose from. So it is what it is. But I will say I did get these at a discount. I believe the plush, I can't remember if the basics was, but the plush I think was about 25% off. So that's a pretty good deal when you're buying kind of a bulk order. So keep an eye out for their deals. That's it for my unboxing of my Premier Yarns order, and I will see you in the next clip. Oh my gosh, that was so much yarn. I truly did not mean to purchase so many skeins. It just kind of happened. I blacked out. But I am in the process of getting those yarns put back, and I am slowly replacing my stock of Sweet Snuggles Light yarn. I find that Premier Plush has a lot of the same colors and even a wider color range. Plus, they are Oeko Tex certified, which if you watch my previous video, I talked a little bit about what that means and why that's important to me, especially as a plushie maker. So I'm working on getting those yarns switched out, and I'm very excited. I got to use a lot of that yarn as I was market prepping before my market, and it's chenille yarn, it sheds. That's what most super soft chenille yarns do, but I love using it. I love how it feels. My customers love how it feels. And so I'm going to continue using it, even though sometimes it can be frustrating. All right, so next up, I'm not going to do a full market recap just yet. I still have to do some sales reports and things like that to get everything kind of pulled together to share with you all. But I did want to share a little bit of the market footage. This was an outdoor market in Highlands Ranch, Colorado. It was the first market that the Highlands Ranch, Colorado Community Association put on specifically at this location. This was outside of one of their community centers. I think it's called the West Ridge Community Center. And that is basically a rec center that has like a pool. So people were there swimming in the afternoon and evening, or coming to swim for the evening. And so we had this market kind of in the parking lot, and people came just for the market. And like I said, some people were there for the rec center, but this was probably the most well-attended event I've done so far. This was the most people I've seen, the most customer interactions I've had. There was a steady flow of traffic in my booth, which was great. This was the first market. I actually brought one of my kiddos with me. It's my oldest son, and you'll see him in some of the video clips helping out mom. Like I said before, my husband was able to help, so he came with me at the beginning and did setup. And then afterwards, he and my youngest went to our co-ed team's softball game, which I unfortunately had to miss. However, shout out to the Millennial Falcons. Sorry I couldn't be there, guys, but you gotta do what you gotta do when it's market season, right? So anyway, here are some clips of the market. You'll see me kind of setting things up. I didn't really record any customer interactions because I ended up using my phone a ton during my market. I've tried to use the iPads and things like that, but they don't have the tap to pay feature, and my phone does. So I'll have to find out another solution for filming footage and customer interactions at markets when I'm actively selling. But I thought I'd give you a little bit of footage just to kind of see how my very first outdoor market went, what it looked like, what items I had with me, and so on. Enjoy. Okay, so it is market day. We are getting ready to load up the car. We did a practice run of the tent and table and shelf setup yesterday. It's really warm out today. It's like in the high 80s. The market is going to be in a parking lot, so that has the potential to be very warm. We'll see how it goes. It's only 3 hours, so yeah, I'll see you there. Okay, so me and my oldest are here at the market. We have our tent all set up. I was so stressed out about getting it set up that I didn't ask anyone to film it, but we have the tables set up. The tent is set up. I have all of my crates and stuff set up. So we have about an hour and 15 minutes until we have to be completely set up. It's pretty warm right now. It's a little overcast. So I'm just trying to cool off. And then we're going to set out the plushies. My youngest and my husband were here earlier, but my husband has a softball game, so he took the youngest with him to do that. My oldest has graciously volunteered. He was more voluntold to help out today, but he's hanging out with me, and I may buy him a treat as a thank you if he behaves himself, which he will. He's going to be in charge of making sure people have bags, catching things that fall over, because it is a little windy. And this is my first time being outdoors, so I'm a little nervous about, plushies getting dirty and things like that. So we'll see. I'm just going to wait till probably like the last 20 or 30 minutes to set up, just because I don't want things falling over. So once we start setting up, I will film some of that so you can kind of see how it all comes together, and I'll check in a little bit. Okay, so we are officially all set up. The booth is looking great. I'm going to show you that in a second, but the market hasn't even started, and we already had 2 sales. I sold one of my Stardew Valley chickens and a ducky with a keychain. So that was really exciting. People were stopping by and just kind of taking a look as we were setting up. So we're just going to see how the day goes. It's very warm. As you can see behind me, it's getting really sunny, and the sun is coming right into my booth. So my son and I are trying to hide in the shade, but here I'm going to show you my booth setup next.
To the 80s,
we're packing up and going home. Wave. I voluntold them to be here. So this was a very successful market. Considering the fact it was only 3 hours, I definitely feel like it was worth it. One thing I might do differently in the future if they continue to have this specific Friday night market is arrive a little bit later. I was so nervous about finding parking in the additional parking lot that I decided to get there right when vendors were allowed to come in and set up. And then I ended up sitting around for like 2 hours in the heat, which wasn't so fun. So I think in the future, I would probably come set up a little closer to the event start, maybe give myself just an hour or an hour and a half to get set up, especially when I have help, it goes by pretty quickly. Another thing I would probably do differently for an outdoor market is bring way more water than we had. I filled up my Stanley mug, which is about 32 ounces of water, and then my son and I both brought 2 bottles of disposable water to refill with. So that was like another 24 ounces. And I drank it all. Then I had to send my son to the different food vendors, of which there were many, to buy more bottled water. And only one food vendor had bottled water. The others seemed to have forgotten it or something. So I was drinking soda and things like that. It was really hot. I was sweating a ton. And I really needed that extra water because I was also talking and I just felt very thirsty. So in the future, I think I would definitely bring a lot more water with me. One thing I'm still trying to get the hang of is setting up at a market and then walking around and meeting the other vendors. Believe it or not, I'm actually pretty shy in person and I have a difficulty knowing what to say or talk about with other vendors, especially if we aren't in the same niche. Some of the other vendors weren't artists at all. You know, there was obviously food vendors, there was someone doing music, there were a couple of non-business vendors, like there was a pediatrician set up with a booth, you know, they were taking new customers, things like that. So one thing I'm really working on and would like to do more of in the future is interacting with other vendors. I just tend to clam up and get really shy. Also, at an event like this where I'm super busy, I really didn't have the opportunity to step away. I really had to send my son out. He's young, so I didn't want to leave him in charge of the booth so that I could walk around. But I think that in the future, if I walked around after setup and I had gotten there closer to setup, it would have given me the opportunity to maybe mingle with the other vendors a little bit more. I did meet a few. They were very nice and came to my booth, and I'll talk more about that in my next video when I do the full recap. But I did want to just briefly share some footage and go over it with you and let you know that I had a great time. There was a great turnout, and I would totally do that market again. The other thing I wanted to share with you is what we have been up to during the summer. We have done some fun family events, one of which was a Hot Wheels monster truck event. I have never been to a monster truck show in my life. I think my husband may have gone to like the Rio monster truck show with like Gravedigger and all of those cars back in the day when he was younger. Hot Wheels has brought over Bigfoot. That's going to be important later. Hot Wheels has brought over the truck Bigfoot, which I believe was originally in the regular monster truck family and is now part of the Hot Wheels family. And my youngest son actually has an RC car of Bigfoot. So he was really excited to go to this Hot Wheels event. We figured it would probably be more family friendly than like a general monster truck show. So we headed over to Ball Arena where the Abs, go Abs, and the Nuggets, go Nuggets, play to see this show. And it was actually really fun. We had a good time. So I figured I would just share some footage of that as well. Maybe if you've never checked out a monster truck event with Hot Wheels, this might be interesting to you. You know, these are the things we do as boy moms for our boys. But I saw plenty of little girls there as well and lots of families. And so it was definitely a family fun event. So why don't you go ahead and check that out? Another fun little family outing that my family had recently was taking a trip up to Georgetown, Colorado to check out the Georgetown Loop Railroad. This is a very old railroad, one of the original railroad lines in Colorado, and you can ride the trains for different events. The event that we went to was called Sasquatch Adventure Train, I think was the full name of the event. Again, Bigfoot, hint, hint, hint. And so we took the boys to Georgetown, hopped aboard a train, got to ride around the Georgetown Loop. I got to overcome a little bit of my fear of heights because there is a very tall bridge that you cross as you are kind of ascending and gaining altitude on the train. It was really cool because we went from about 7,000 feet up to 9,000 feet just on that train ride. And during the train ride, they had like different Sasquatch Bigfoot statues hidden. So it was kind of like a scavenger hunt for the kids. They gave us a map so we knew where some of those Bigfoot sightings would be. And so they really enjoyed that. And plus, it was just a nice morning. It's always nice to get up into a mountain town here in Colorado during the summer because there is a huge difference in temperature. It was like almost a 20-degree difference from where we live to Georgetown. So it was nice to kind of spend the day there. We then walked around downtown Georgetown just to see what was around. We then decided to leave and grab some lunch. And since it was kind of on our way home, we decided to also check out Idaho Springs, which is another mountain town we had never been to. So we went there and walked around, checked out some of the shops, got some magnets, had some ice cream, and then went home. And it was a really lovely day. I thought I would share some of that footage of our day on the Georgetown Loop Railroad just for you to enjoy. All right, so it's kind of coincidental that the two events we've done recently had something to do with Bigfoot because my next crochet pattern is going to be, drum roll please, Ridge the Sasquatch. Now, if you've been following me on Instagram for a while, you know that I already have a Yeti and Bigfoot pattern, and that is Buttons the Yeti and Bigsyby the Bigfoot, but I felt like it was time for a refresh of that pattern. I've learned a lot as a pattern designer and wanted to kind of redo the pattern a little, but this ended up turning out so differently that I think I'm going to keep both patterns available on my Etsy. Bigsyby is a standing pattern. This is a floppy pattern, so I'm going to have both of them still available on my Etsy. I really love how this came out. I love how I changed up the color changes on the face. I added ears for the Bigfoot. In my other pattern, only the Yeti has the ears. I suppose you could add them for the Bigfoot. I just didn't. His feet are totally different, as are his arms and hands. I mean, look at his adorable feet. So it's actually kind of funny that we were doing these events. I don't know if maybe because they were in my mind, I decided it was time to refresh Bigsyby or what, but it is what it is. So this is the first fully written version of Bigsyby. Of course, not Bigsyby, Ridge. Of course, there was lots of trial and error, but I'm so in love with how he turned out. You can change up the look of the Bigfoot by not doing the nose, not doing the eyelids, not doing the ears, not doing the hair. mixing and matching what you decide to add or not add. So it gives kind of a different look. And I actually have an example of that with the second version I did of Ridge. So here is the second version, and you can see without the ears, it kind of changes the appearance quite significantly. I did use Premier Parfait Plush for this one. And for this ridge, I use the Aojong Edelweiss yarn, both of which I have talked about on my channel before. I really love how they both turned out. I think they're super cute, and I'm very happy with this pattern. As of recording, I have not done a tester call for this pattern yet. I want to add some options to create a Yeti, but if you're not following me on Instagram and you're interested in helping me test this pattern, please make sure you go follow me on Instagram so that you can check it out. I do have a couple of friends pre-testing this pattern for me. One of them is What's Up Cupcake Crafts here on YouTube and also on Instagram, and the other is my friend DeLong. She is Tag Along with DeLong here on YouTube, and her handle on Instagram is McDalong Presents. I'll put both of those on the screen for you, and you can check out their ridges when they are finished. I know that Christine of What's Up Cupcake Crafts recently shared her version of ridge because she has an upcoming cryptids convention, which is part of the reason why I asked her if she would like to test the pattern. I knew she had that convention to go to and was making cryptids. I thought it was the perfect opportunity to have her test for me, and she's giving me a lot of love on my Pippin the Griffin pattern, so I also wanted to offer her this pattern as a thank you. So thanks, Christine, for making Ridge. In her video, he was named Sage. That was kind of my temporary placeholder name, but I put up a poll on my Instagram and my followers chose the name Ridge pretty overwhelmingly, so that is going to be this cutie pie's name. I'm hoping to get that pattern out in the next couple of weeks, so keep an eye, and I will come back here and put the link in the description once it is out if you're interested in making your own little Bigfoot. Okay, friends, well, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video interesting and would like to see more of my YouTube content, please consider subscribing and following me along on my journey. I would love to have you as a subscriber. You can also turn on notifications by tapping on that bell so that you know anytime I release a new video. I am trying to get better about my cadence with releasing videos. It's just a little bit hard in the summer. Life's really busy. So if you want to know as soon as those videos come out, make sure that you turn on those notifications. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.